Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, Izuku Clover of Kingdom, by Vegeto 678. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. Izuku of the Clover Kingdom, age, 28, status, leader Squad 10 of the Clover Kingdom. Squad 10 is going to be similar to Squad 0 from Bleach. Except it's only going to be 3 members for now. Magic user, title, The Bright Devil Likes, Katsudan, Eri, Nijire, the 9 squad captains, the Black Bulls, Yuno, Asta, the Wizard King, using magic, his squad, hanging out with the Black Bulls, Yami, drinking with Vanessa, Mario Leona, Vermal hates, his past, Bakugo twins, Todoroki twins, Japan, heroes, U.A., the Eye of the Midnight Sun, Spade Kingdom, Dark Triad, disrespectful nobles, royalty or commoners. Personality, serious when he's on missions, kind and humble towards his friends, loving and caring towards his lovers, extremely intelligent, battle genius, hates the people who wronged him and hates the ones who try to harm the Clover Kingdom, laid back. Powers, light magic and gravity magic. Mana Zone user AN, when Izuku arrives at the Clover Kingdom. It will be revealed why he has 2 different magic types, light spirit Thea appearance. I don't own this image. Like this, just smaller in size, Devil Izuku possesses, Lucifero appearance, 4 lovers, Nijire, Mario Leona, Vermal and Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't own this video. This world isn't fair. How many times did he tell himself that before his mind finally broke? Izuku Yagi couldn't remember, but it didn't matter to him, not anymore. But now thinking back on it, he wondered why he didn't decide to leave sooner than later. This is the story of how Izuku Yagi came to be known as the Bright Devil and the leader of Squad 10 of the Clover Kingdom. Flashback to when Izuku was 4 years old. Izuku was born the earliest of all his siblings. Izuku was born first. Then Izumi and Izuka were born 2 years later after Izuku's birth. Both of their parents Inko Yagi and Toshinori Yagi were thrilled to have the 3 of them, and most of the time during their childhood was history. One thing in common though, the Midoriya siblings all had one thing in common, they all loved heroes, especially All Might, the #1 hero in Japan, and as such it was only a matter of time before they all decided for good that every single one of them wanted to be heroes. School life was great for them as well. The 3 of them would always be hanging out with the Todoroki twins and Bakugo twins, but Izuku did have one more friend that he would hang out with. That girl's name was Nijire Hado. Most people called her weird due to her curious nature and endless questions that would come out her mouth, although Izuku did not find this weird at all. As a matter of fact, he was actually able to keep up with her curiosity and when she would randomly start talking at a mile a minute. These happy times continued for 5 years until eventually came the day where Izuku's life would take a turn for the worst and everything he once had would start to crumble under his feet. It was the day they went to the quirk doctor and he remembered exactly how it went. Izuku POV, I woke up to a bright sunny day, then looking at my calendar I noticed that it was that day. Once I realized that I was filled with so much excitement I couldn't contain myself as I ran towards my brother and sister's room to wake them up. Izuku, sis, bro. Shaking them, wake up Izuka, sleepy voice Stiop Shakengme, Izumi, sleepy voice W hi a re yo uup so eroy. Izuku, it's the day we get our quirks. Once his siblings heard that, they both shot up like a light with excitement, getting ready in just a few seconds. Once they were done getting dressed, the 3 of them ran towards their parents' room. Izuku, mommy, mommy. Wake up, wake up. The siblings continued to shack their parents until eventually Inko woke up. Inko, alright, I'm UP. I'm UP. Go brush your teeth please. All 3, excited. Okay. The 3 of them leave. Inko, gets up. Wake up Toshinori. In this story All Might will not get his injury. Toshi, are you gonna take them today? Inko, yeah, you just relax and get ready for work. Both Inko and Toshinori had a secret they haven't shared with their kids. The secret was that they both were heroes, or more accurately, All Might the #1 hero and #7 hero, Green Psychic. Once the three siblings were done brushing their teeth, went back to the living room in order to eat breakfast. Three siblings, eating Inko and Toshi, watching them eat and smiling. I hope you all have amazing quirks, after finishing their food and leaving towards the quirk doctor. The three of them were so excited and couldn't stop talking about how they would do amazing things when the three of them got their quirks. On top of that, they were just repeating the same words every 5 minutes. I will be just like All Might. Inko couldn't help but smile at the act of her kids. But there was one part of her mind that was hoping none of them were quirkless. After a long drive, the Midoriya family made it to the doctor's office. As for Izuku, while relaxing in a chair, all of a sudden he saw Nijire sitting down a couple feet away by herself. Izuku gets up out of his chair and walks towards Nijire. Hey Nijire. By the way, just a small note, Nijire is the same age as Izuku. Also she will be much more powerful. Nijire, hello Izuku, you nervous? Nijire, a little. I get my quirk today and I'm worried. What if I'm quirkless? What if my quirk isn't that good? What if? Before Nijire said anything else, Izuku hugged her. Izuku, don't say that Nijire. I know you will be amazing, you will not be quirkless. I believe in you. Nijire hugs him back. Thank you Izuku, you're welcome. Do you want to play with me? Nijire's parents were watching and they were both thinking the same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Hato, I approve of their future relationship. After about 10 minutes of playing, a man came with a clipboard. Dr. Ms. Inko. Inko, that's me. Let's go kids. All three of them, coming. Izuku, I'll see you later Nijire. Once inside the room, the doctor took a blood sample from the three of them. When he did, he left in the back, and after another 5 minutes he came back with a board in his hands. Doctor, alright Mrs. Inko. I got the results of the tests we did, and do you want the good news or bad news first? Inko, bad news first. Doctor, well, your son Izuku is quirkless, but he, Inko, gives Izuku a quick look of disgust. You can continue. The doctor was surprised. When he told her about the bad news she was worried, but once he told her that Izuku was quirkless, her demeanor completely changed, and he also caught the quick look of disgust she gave her son. Doctor, I hate this part of the job. As for Izuku, when he heard the words quirkless, it was as if all the color on his face and in his eyes drained out of him. He couldn't believe it. He didn't have a quirk. Doctor, as for the good news, Izumi and Izuka have a quirk. Izumi has a very strong telekinesis quirk that will allow her to life up skyscrapers. The weakest is that if she uses it too much, she will get a headache. For Izuka, he has a strength enhancer quirk with a kinetic aspect to it. So for his strength, he can lift up skyscrapers, and for the kinetic aspect, the more he exerts himself, the stronger his punches will get. The weakest is that using his quirk for a long time will make his body sore. Inko, happy face and hugging Izumi and Izuka. Did you hear that you both are going to be heroes? Izumi and Izuka speaks in unison. Will be just like All Might. After saying that, they left the doctor's office. Izuku noticeably having a sad aura around him. He didn't say a word as they left the doctor's and got into the car while driving back home. While driving, Inko kept on giving Izuka and Izumi the attention and didn't even notice Izuku's existence. Izuku noticed this but decided not to say anything. Inko, when we get home, I'll make you whatever you want. Izumi and Izuka, I want pizza. Izuku, I want katsudon. Inko, alright, I'll make you pizza. Just there, Izuku noticed that she completely ignored his answer and instead only focused on what Izumi and Izuka wanted. He still didn't question it. After all, he was still a kid. He was naive to a fault. After a long drive, they got back home and went into the house to find Toshinori watching TV. Once he saw they had returned, he stopped watching TV. Toshi, so how did it go? Inko, well, Izuku is quirkless. But Izumi and Izuka have quirks again, just like last time. They both didn't even try to comfort him. Toshi, that's my son and daughter. Hugs them both except for Izuku. As for Izuku, he just went to his room and stayed in bed while crying at the fact that he was quirkless. He's staying like that for hours until eventually he got hungry and went downstairs to find his family eating already, but he didn't see any plate or piece for him. Izuku, mommy, where's my food? Inko completely ignored him and just continued to eat and laugh with family. For Izuku, he just went back upstairs convincing himself that he wasn't that hungry and he thought this was just a one-day thing. Everything would return to normal tomorrow. How wrong he was. The next day, Izuku woke up to the bright sun and looked at the clock. Usually he would be at school at 7, but the clock read 8, he was so late, but as he was getting changed he thought to himself, Izuku, Mommy usually wake me up. Izuku had no time to think these things. He got up out of bed, grabbed a slice of toast albeit with a bit of effort and rushed to school. He got there at 9:23 and scolded by his teacher, which he apologized for. However, he had no issue catching up with his work, since Izuku had always been a smart kid and soon enough he would get to the field where they would be relaxing after eating their food. Everybody was playing or talking while on the other hand, Izuku was under a tree deep in his own thoughts, until Nijire came up and broke him out of his thoughts by touching his shoulder. Nijire taps his shoulder. Izuku, are you okay? Izuku breaks out of his thoughts. Oh Nijire. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Nijire, it's okay. Sits down with him. So did you get your quirk? Izuku visibly flinches. Yeah, did you? Nijire excited. Yeah, but quirk is called wave motion. I can shoot out this wave-like energy out of my hands, but it takes my stamina to use. What's your quirk? Izuku, I'm quirkless. When he said that there was silence for just 4 seconds until eventually Nijire spoke again. Nijire, bright smile. Oh well. I still believe you can become a hero. You just have to work harder than anyone else. Izuku hearing that cleared the air for Izuku. He thought she would look at him different because of that fact. But instead she believed in him. This made Izuku extremely happy. During that rush of emotion he was feeling, a couple small orbs of light appeared next to his body. However, neither Izuku nor Nijire noticed them until eventually they disappeared. Nijire gets up. I'll see you in a bit. Izuku, okay Nijire. When Nijire walked away, the Bakugo twins, Todoroki twins and his siblings walked up to him. Flashback. Once Izuku's siblings got to school, the day went on as usual until eventually Izuku walked into class, and once recess started they walked towards the Bakugo twins and Todoroki twins. Izumi, hey guys. Katsuki, what's up? Izumi. Izuka, did you guys get your quirks? Shoto, yeah, me and my sister got the same quirk. Half hot half cold. Katsumi, same with us. Me and my brother got a explosion quirk. The explosions come from our sweat. Izumi, nice. I got telekinesis. Izuka, and I got a strength enhancer quirk. Shoto, nice. Shoka, what about Izuchan? Izuka, frowns. He's quirkless. They all collectively grasped Izumi, I'm afraid for him. He's quirkless and I don't want him to die. Izuka, me neither. What type of brother would I be if I let him die? But even I know how stubborn Izuku is. I just don't know what to do. Katsuki, what if we bully with our quirks? Katsumi and Shoka, what are you, insane? Katsuki, would you rather him die? Katsumi and Shoka couldn't argue with that since they both had a crush on Izuku. Izuka, alright, we'll do it. But just know, we're not trying to hurt him. We are only trying to make up. Stop being a hero. Izumi, Shoka, Shoto, Katsuki and Katsumi, right. Back with Izuku. Izumi, hey Izuku, do you still want to be a hero? Izuku, yes of course sis, more than anything. Suddenly before he could speak more, Izuku gets hit by an explosion in the face. Katsuki, just give it up. Izuku, you'll never be a hero. Izuku, why wow, gets punched by his brother. Izuka, shut up Izuku and give it up already. Izuku, guys stop, we are free NDS. Katsumi, throws a explosion at Izuku. We would never be friends with a quirkless loser. Katsuki, you're so useless. Izuku, no you don't even deserve that. You're just a worthless Deku. Shoto, come on guys. Let's teach this worthless Deku a lesson. Izumi and Izuka, I'm sorry big brother. This is for your own good. So after that continued to beat Izuku up with their quirks until the end of recess. Burned, frozen, exploded, punched and throwing around / at the end of school Izuku left the school with so many injuries on his body. His entire body was stinging from the pain. It hurt to even walk, and just like before his mother left him at the school, he had to walk home again. Once he got home though, he looked up to see his mom looking at him with anger. "Inko, Izuku, did you hit Izumi and Izuka?" "Izuku, no I didn't." Izumi and Izuka then start to fake cry, making Inko even more angry with him. "Inko, don't lie to me Izuku. I know you hit them. Jealous that they have quirks." "Izuku, but I didn't." "Inko, don't talk back to me. Go to your room." Izuku didn't say anything else. He just cried as he made his way towards his room, and he laid down, albeit painfully since his injuries hurt a lot. Soon he fell asleep, sad that his own family would do this to him. Though he didn't know, that this was just the beginning. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't this video, 3 years later. Currently right now Izuku is 10 years old and is in his room patching himself from the previous day. Izuku thought it would get better as time went by. Well, to be it bluntly, it didn't. Home life got even worse. His mom and dad barely recognize his existence. It's as if he was a ghost. The only time he is noticed by them is during his daily beatings courtesy of his mom and dad. While he beat into sleep every single time, the both of them would always say the same garbage to him over and over, making sure he remembered it. "I hate you, you're so worthless, I didn't raise you like this, why did you have to be born, why do I have to live with such a worthless son like you?" Every single day he would hear these things, and to no one's surprise, it basically made Izuku absolutely hate his family, but nothing he feels will ever compare to the hatred he feels towards Izumi and Izuka. As for his bullies, they had forgotten why they were beating him up long ago. Now they were just doing it to satisfy their pathetic lives. But no matter what he did, Izuku could not stand up to his siblings. Izuka's punches were too fast and strong to dodge or tank, and Izumi's telekinesis would catch him no matter how much he tried to run. But the hate only grows deeper from here as Izuka, his disgusting brother, if he wasn't bullying him, he would everything he can to embarrass Izuku, and the humiliation he would feel was unlike anything imaginable. As for Izumi, his worthless sister, she was the one who always told his parents about stuff they did. However, she would always twist the stories, making it so Izuku was the villain and they were the victims. Fools. How the hell was a quirkless person ever able to beat someone with a quirk? But however, due to his parents seeing them both as the golden children, Inko and Toshinori would always take their side and would result in another daily beating, and just them constantly reminding him of how useless he was. All this hate Izuku would feel did cause one thing though. Every time he felt an immense amount of hate, he would feel this blackness inside him. He couldn't tell what it was, but it felt like something similar to what a demon would feel like. Small question. Do you guys think I should let Izuku be able to use demon light magic when he feels negative emotions? But he would never have the time to think about it more, since, due to Katsuki shitty ego, sitting still and doing nothing was like looking down on him, which was the stupidest SHT he had ever heard in his life. But what could he do? But even going through all this darkest, Izuku was able to keep something like a smile because of one person. The girl who was in essence the sun within his life. Her name is Nijire Hado. Nijire was the one reason why Izuku never gave up and never would. As long as she was on his side or even by his side, he felt like he could do anything he set his mind to. One thing though, after hanging out with her and spending so many nights sleeping over at her house, the friendship he felt towards her turned into full-blown love. So Izuku had a huge crush on Nijire, and as for Nijire, she felt the same, but they were too nervous to say anything to the other. So both of them just decided to save it for a later date. In the end though, the saying goes, good things can't last forever, and with that, on one fateful Friday, Nijire told Izuku that her family was moving to another city and that they wouldn't get to see each other anymore. Izuku was of course sad, but he knew she couldn't do anything, so on the day He could do nothing but just watch as Nijire along with her parents drove off. Once they were gone and he was left standing right in front of the house where they used to live. He cried, because now the only people who showed any love in this world were gone, and to be the nail in the coffin, he was now alone, to deal with this hell alone. But for Nijire's sake he would get through this right. 2 years later, he can't take it anymore. He told himself that he can do it so many times, but no matter what he did, life would always throw him to the side and discard him like nothing first. Monday his school had started to sabotage his grades because they couldn't stand the fact that a quirkless nobody like himself was smarter than the big Izumi, Izuka, Shoto, Shoka, Katsuki and Katsumi. So what did Izuku do? He recorded them and documented everything they did and took to the police. Once he was there, he told the police and showed them all the evidence he had, and it was a lot, enough to completely fill 3 binders and 2 flash drives that held video footage. But once they figured out he was quirkless, Izuku stood there and he watched them burn and destroy all the evidence he had, considering it worthless since it came from someone who was quirkless. Izuku felt nothing but hatred in that moment, and again when he did there was the black feeling in his chest. He didn't say anything after that. He just left the police station with a downed aura. He thought that if he were to bring everything he had collected over the last 3 years, it would make a difference, but instead he learned that the police were just like everyone else. Worthless, disgusting, waste of space, not worth a DMN thing, slot and all the above. Secondly, Tuesday he tried to run away from home. While he was walking through the streets he was thinking to himself and just happy to be away from the hell hole he knew as home. I mean, he could blame him, but soon enough it was cut short, as while walking through the street at night, he ran into one of his favorite heroes, Eraserhead, and when he ran into him, he was happy. Eraserhead was like an uncle to him, and once Eraserhead saw Izuku, they talked for a bit, and through the whole thing, Izuku wasn't able to get a single word out, and instead of taking the time to listen to Izuku and understand what he was going through, his uncle, the one he thought was on his side, took him back home. Back to the hellhole. Yet again, he was broken and angry, nothing could go well, and of course, once the doors were closed he yet again received another beating. Everything they did was always behind closed doors, and now, that overwhelming hatred he had that was consuming his very being, his supposed-to-be uncle, was now a part of it. Once his beating was done it was back to his disgusting room and back to living this thing that he could barely call life. Thirdly, Wednesday it was a normal day for Izuku. He suffered from his family, friends, school and Japan itself, and it was just a usual day at school. Beaten, humiliated, and all the above. Today in his last class they put out a career test, and at the end his teacher, with a filthy smirk on his face, said out loud that Izuku was applying for you, eh? And of course this resulted in everybody laughing, calling him name etc., until eventually he heard something that sent his rage over the edge. Izumi, hey Deku, you want a quirk? I know a way. Take a swan dive off a rooftop and pray for a quirk in the next. Izuku, heart thumps with just pure rage. Once he left school yet again, feeling nothing but rage, and to be honest with himself, rage was the only thing he was capable of feeling nowadays. So that black feeling in his chest was a constant feeling every day, every night, every moment. Being too busy thinking about these things, he didn't notice that he was walking under a bridge, and out the drain came a sludge villain, and before he could make a break for it, the sludge villain jumped on him. He hated this, of course, out of everyone. He would be the one to get dealt a bad hand, but even though he was suffocating, he didn't feel it. His rage wouldn't let Izuku die. Not like this. So instead, after a bit of struggle, he was able to break free for a bit. Izuku, I won't be taken over. SV, what is this anger and power? As Izuku continued to fight, another person came out the drain and yelled something, Texas smash, and just like all the sludge got blown off him. Izuku calms down and coughs out some sludge. When Izuku looked up, he saw someone he had wanted to see for long. All Might, standing there with all the glory in the world. Seeing him calmed Izuku. He finally felt no rage. Although the rage he felt before would be nothing like what he would feel in a few moments, after collecting the sludge villain all up, All Might. Alright Sizudin, I will have Tio take this villain into the police. Izuku, wait, I need to ask you something. All Might, what? Izuku, can someone who's quirkless be a hero like you? It was quiet for a moment until All Might answered him, but not in the way he imagined. All Might, no, I don't think someone quirkless can be a hero. You would just get in the way. I recommend being a police officer or a fireman. It's nice to dream, but just make sure it's realistic. Izuku, eyes wide in shock, no, not you too. Before Izuku could say anything else, All Might jumps away, leaving him there. So in response, Izuku just starts walking to clear his mind. 5 minutes later he hears an explosion. Izuku rushes to the scene. What he sees shocks him. It was the sludge villain again, and it looked like he was holding 6 people hostage. Looking closer, he saw it was Izumi, Izuka, Katsuki, Shoto, Katsumi and Shoka. He was set off already by this scene. Hearing the heroes talk about they didn't have the right quirk. So he did the only thing he knew. Izuku, rushing at the sludge villain heroes, stop kid. You'll die. You again. I've no need for you die. Izuku throws his bat at his eye. This freed the 6 of them for a single second, but before he could do more, All Might came out of nowhere and blew the sludge villain away again with a punch, and soon enough the scene was cleaned up along with the sludge villain. But instead of being praised, the heroes walked to him and started to scold him, all the while some of them were praising the 6 of them. Why were they doing that? None of the heroes were doing anything. If he hadn't done anything they would have died. Then what? Izuku, what? If I hadn't? Death arms, no, that was reckless and stupid. Izuku, but dash. All Might. All Might, you shouldn't have done that, young man. Like I told you, leave it to the heroes. Izuku starts feeling rage again. Fine. Starts to walk home. The last straw. While Izuku was walking home, he heard a familiar laugh, and when he heard it, he found the source of it. To find his 6 tormentors along with All Might. But soon enough a cloud of smoke appeared from where All Might originally was, and out of it came his father Izumi and Izuka. Dad, you're All Might. Shoto, Shoka, Katsumi, Katsuki, Uncle Toshi is All Might. All Might didn't turn that skinny, but he wasn't as buff as his All Might form. Toshinori, yes I am. But that's not why I came here. I want you all be my successors and give you all my quirk. Izuka, what? But you can't pass on quirks. Skip the story of one for all. Izumi, then why don't you give it to Izuku? Toshinori, Izuku. He doesn't have the heart of hero and doesn't train. So do you accept my quirk? All 6, yes we accept. BLD drop. Izuku, hiding behind a wall and clenching his fist hard, making it bleed. So you're telling me that after all this time he could have given me a quirk, and on top of that my pitiful father, the one who has never supported me through my whole life, is All Might. Wait. If he can pass down his quirk, that means you were quirkless like me, aren't you? The rage Izuku was feeling was unlike anything he had ever felt before, and soon enough the black feeling started to consume him and felt like it was going to erupt out of him. But he didn't care anymore as he ran towards the forest. Soon enough he reached the forest and Izuku's body started to form black light. Izuku, screaming and punching a tree. Why do I have to live this shitty life? I hate you all. Inko a smite, slot Izumi, and you beach of a brother. No. I hate this world. Within his rage, Izuku didn't even realize that he was using magic, but due to his emotions, it was out of control and soon created a massive explosion of black light, destroying and creating a massive crater in the forest and killing all the wildlife in the area. The hole was about 1,000 feet deep and 2,000 feet wide. When the explosion happened, every hero noticed it from the shockwave. Everybody in Japan felt it. As for Izuku, 2 minutes after the explosion went off, Izuku woke back up and instantly he noticed the destruction around him, but he didn't care about that. In the moment he was only thinking one thing, Izuku, still feeling rage, I can't take it anymore. I want to run away from Japan. I don't care where I end up, anywhere is better than here. Back to the present, Izuku is packing up everything he needs in his room. Before he did that, Izuku did 2 things. 1. He destroyed his entire room. 2. He wrote a letter that contained everything about how he felt and how not to look for him, but most importantly, he didn't think they would read it, but if they did. He wrote down his feelings for Nijire. Izuku finishes packing and jumps out the window. For Izuku, he had everything he needed. A huge amount of cash after stealing it from his parents' safe, clothes and Izuku reaches the dock and looks back at the city. I hate Japan. So I swear no matter what, I will never come back here. Turns around and gets on the boat. After about 5 minutes, the boat Izuku had gotten on leaves. Izuku had no direction in mind, so he had no idea where this boat was going, but he knew that wherever it ended up would be better than Japan. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't own this video. Izuku POV, currently has the boat Izuku was on was traveling through the ocean. He was leaning on the railing staring at the vast ocean that surrounded him, thinking to himself. Now he knew for certain that he didn't regret his decision to leave Japan at all. Every single day he spent was hell. Never being able to bring his dreams to life, but now he was thinking to himself because no longer did he want to be a hero, but he didn't want to be a hero then. What was he supposed to be? He didn't know at the moment, but he knew that whatever choice he made next would be far better than being a hero. Izuku, TCH. All heroes are fake, they can try to convince you with words. But deep down they are all fake. Well, may as well relax, it'll be a while until this ship makes it to wherever it's going. Back in Japan, for Japan things were well odd to say the least. The explosion that had occurred was all over the news. Every single hero knew of the event that included All Might, and once he saw that explosion go off, he assumed the worst, so instantly he thought it was all for one, but once he got to the crater he saw no one. As for the heroes in the crater, all the teachers that worked at you, were there in the massive hole in the forest. Looking at it from a helicopter. It was scary, just seeing a massive hole in the forest. All Might, he could have caused this amount of destruction. Nizu, someone very powerful. Naomasa, we should try to ask around to see if anyone saw anything. Aizawa, right. Endeavor, alright, let's go. After walking back to the city, they start to ask around to see if anyone saw anything, and while asking around, no one really had any useful information until eventually they ran into someone who did have useful information. He told them he saw a green-haired boy run into the forest, and 5 minutes later an explosion of black light appeared. Naomasa, green hair. Could it be Izuku? No, I mean he's strong, but even his quirk isn't capable of causing this amount of destruction. But I mean it couldn't hurt to ask. Hey All Might. All Might, yes. Naomasa, can we pay a visit to your house? All Might, sure. So with that, All Might, Aizawa, Endeavor, Naomasa and Nizu drive off to the Midoriya household. Izuku POV, for Izuku he is relaxing on the deck of the ship drinking soda. Right now he feels better than ever before because for the first time in his life, he can relax, but however while he was relaxing, he suddenly got a chill down his spine as the ship continued its journey into the vast ocean, but for now he pushed that feeling aside. Back in Japan, once they arrived to the Midoriya household, they were surprised to see another car there, that arrived at the same time as them. This confused them, but soon enough a blue-haired girl jumped out the car with a lot of excitement on her face. Naomasa, who is that? All Might, wait. I know you, it was Nijire, bubbly voice. Hello All Might, why are you here? All Might, I live here. Nijire, stars and eyes, wow, you live here as well, that's so cool. Wait, if you live here that means. They quickly realized what Nijire was going to say. Nijire, wait. You're Toshi, Aizawa, don't tell anybody. Nijire, 1000 smile okay, I won't tell a soul. Does a zipper motion with her lips endeavor, no one can tell, but I know she is strong. I should try to put her in a quirk marriage. After talking a little with Nijire's parents they all entered the house. Nijire, now I'll finally get to tell you how I feel Izuku. Once they entered the house. Before they could do anything another knock came at the door and after opening it. A boy dark blue hair and another with blonde hair stood there. Naomesa, who are you boy? Hello sir, my name is Mirio and this is Tamaki. Can we come in? Naomesa, oh sure. Nijire, oh hey Mirio, Tamaki. Mirio, chuckles. Mirio couldn't help but chuckle since this is how Nijire always was. Every single time Nijire saw her friends, she would just randomly out of nowhere start getting really excited and happy. Inko walks into the living room. Oh hey Aizawa, Nizu, Endeavor, Naomesa. What can I do for you? Aizawa, don't worry Inko, we just need to ask some questions to your sons. Inko's sad face sons. But I only have one son. Izuku. Soon enough Izuku comes down the stairs along with Izumi and the Bakugo twins, Todoroki twins. Izuku, yes mom. Sits down on the couch. Inko, these men need to ask you a question. Izuku, sure. Naomesa, were you in the forest to the east to Koba Beach? Izuku, no. Why do you ask? Naomesa, he isn't lying. Well it's better to show you. While they were flying in the helicopter Naomesa took a picture of the massive hole. So Naomesa pulled out his phone and showed Inko and Izuku the picture. When he did they were shocked. Inko, who could have done that? Naomesa, we don't know, but we did hear from someone who said, he saw a green-haired boy running into the forest and about 2 minutes later a explosion appeared. It sent out a massive shock wave that was felt all throughout Mizutofu and probably even further when Izumi and Izuku held that a green-haired boy ran into the forest. Then an explosion occurred. They both swallowed a lump in their throats. Izumi and Izuku, worried faces but quickly returns to normal. Deku. Aizawa, notices their faces, they're hiding something. Inko. Where is Izuku? Inko, who? Endeavor, Nizu, Naomesa and Aizawa were shocked to hear that. Especially Naomesa, he decided to push the topic forward. Naomesa, Izuku. Your second son. Inko, I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Naomesa, eyes widen in shock, she's telling the truth no way. Izumi and Izuku, worried face appear for a second again. Aizawa, notices it again. You know something don't you? Izumi and Izuku, doesn't respond. Aizawa, did you hear me? I know you to know something. Nizu, angry. Aizawa, check upstairs. You better hope we don't find anything. Inko, gulps. When Aizawa goes upstairs he notices that Nijire was following him. He was going to tell her to not follow, but after seeing her face he decided not to. She needed to see this. And after they reached his room, both of them were shocked. It was, well you couldn't even call it a room. It was so dirty, the bed was disgusting and everything was dirty, the flood along with the dirt, there was dried up blood and there were 3 bags filled to the brim with bloody bandages. On top of the thing that could barely be called a table were some pretty powerful painkillers. Aizawa, filled with anger and sees note on the table. Nijire, eyes covered by shadows. Clenching her fist Aizawa, picks up the note was labeled. My hatred made manifest. Aizawa and Nijire then walked back downstairs. But before he went downstairs, he picked up one of the bags filled with bloody bandages, he put on a glove. Aizawa then grabbed the family album as well. Aizawa, gives the note to Nizu. Throws it down on Inko's lap. Look through that. Inko, opens the family album. After looking through the album she saw another green-haired boy smiling, and when she saw that, Inko started crying because she finally remembered Izuku. Aizawa, seems like you remember good. Throws the bag in his hands at full force to the ground. Look at that, Inko, sees all the bloody bandages and cries even more, my baby boy. Aizawa, Nizu, read that letter. Nizu, opens the letter. I honestly don't expect you heirs to read this. After all, when have you ever cared about me? I mean, ever since that DMN doctor's appointment, you never gave a DMN about. I can't understand why you treated me so terribly. I was your son, wasn't I? Or is that as soon as you learned that I was quirkless, then I was less than nothing? I'm human to write. But I don't care if how you feel after reading this. I always hate all of you, but where to start on the long road of rage I felt? Oh, I know, let's start with my worthless siblings. Izuku, why did you do this to me? Do you know how it felt to be beaten by your own brother every single day and humiliated by the person I assumed would always be by my side? But now I don't care. If you were to die, I would dance and spit all over your grave. I never want to see you ever again, and if we do see each other again in the future by some chance, just know, you mean nothing to me anymore. So don't even try to be my brother. Dying in a hole alone would suit you better. As for you, Izumi, I remember the countless I would come to school and you would always be the first one to attack me and call me names. Does the fact that I'm your brother mean anything to you? Well, I guess it doesn't really, since you told me to commit suicide, so I guess we really aren't siblings at all. You're just another person to die in AF ditch. So same to you, if you want my forgiveness if we ever see each other by some chance in the future. How about you take a swan dive off a roof and pray for my forgiveness in the next life? Don't think I forget you though, Mom, Dad, or should I call you Green Psychic and All Might? Or better yet, Green Slot and But Might. You were supposed to be my parents, but instead all I ever came home to was beating after beating. For my entire family you are worthless and will never amount to anything. Now for my useless friends and uncle, or if I can even call them that. I will never forgive you. If I could take your quick Katsuki and Katsumi I would, and destroy it right in front of you. Then you would be able to know how I feel every single day. Oh, and Katsuki. If I ever see you again and I just so happen to get strong, I will kill you. As for Shoto and Shoka, I was the one who talked to your father and convinced him to be better. But now I wish I didn't do that. You both deserve to be suffering. It was no wonder why your slut of a mother almost snapped, if I hadn't talked to her. Shoka and Katsumi, I know you to have a crush on me. Did you really think I would ever fall for you two in the first place? So never think of me in your disgusting minds, Uncle Aizawa. I imagine you don't understand why I hate you. But when you found me on the street, I tried to tell you my story, but you didn't listen, and instead what you did was take me back to that hellhole. If you had half a mind to listen, then why you would have known that I was suffering, but hell, what did I know? I was only a boy in pain looking to be saved from the tiger's den, and instead of saving me from it, you threw me back in. So I've decided to leave Japan. I will not tell you or any of you where I am going. Wherever it is, I know it will be away from you. All you heroes are fake. I saved someone, well, no one would, and was scolded for it. Instead of praise, the police force are fake. I saved 3 years of evidence on my school, because they had been sabotaging my grades, and yet, when I took all of it to the police, they looked it over, but once they learned I was quirkless, I watched them tear it all apart in my face. Is that really how much I didn't matter? But I don't care anymore, cause I will never be seeing any of you anymore. Never look for me, trust me, you will not find me. P.S. I was the one who caused that explosion in forest. It happened when I learned that Beach of a father could have passed his quirk on to me instead. Consider that a parting gift. Nizu, after reading that letter, and his teeth beard. As for Aizawa, Inko, Izuku, Izumi, Shoka and Katumi, they were crying. But without saying a thing, Nijire takes the note cause she could swore that she saw something on the back. Even though she was filled to the brim with rage, she still wanted to read it on the back. To my best friend and one I love. I don't expect you to read this, but if you are, the rest of it is under my pillow. Nijire runs upstairs without a word when Nijire reaches Izuku's room. She looks under his pillow and finds another letter labeled / to the one I love Nijire, opens the letter. If you reading this Nijire, then I'm sorry. I tried so hard but I just couldn't take it anymore. But I want you to know, that ever since we were I have always loved you since then. It was the day you said that you believed in me. Believed that I could be a hero. Even though I had no quirk. I'm sorry I left you all alone, but just know no matter what and no matter where I am, I will always love you, and one day when we see each other again, I hope you and I can be something more than friends. Goodbye my love. The letters ends, tears were dropping on the letter and they were from Nijire, holding the letter with shaking hands. It's okay Izuku, I'll wait for you. Andy, love you too, drops the letter and goes downstairs. When Nijire gets downstairs, without a words, she used her quirk on Izuka, Izumi, Shoka, Shoto, Katsuki and Katsumi. Nijire, putting more power into her quirk. How does it feel? UF airs. Puts even more power into her quirk. Before Nijire killed the 6 of them, Aizawa cancelled out her quirk and chopped her neck, knocking her out cold. Mirio, carries Nijire. I'll take her Nizu, now that's deal with. As for you looking at Inko and Toshinori, for you too, you will reveal to the public about what you've done. Your pay will cut by 90%, the 90% will go to Quirkless orphanages and you will do 10,000 hours of community service. Do I make myself clear? Inko and Toshi, don't say anything Nizu, I said. Do I make myself clear? Inko and Toshi, sad yes sir. Nizu, as for them, looking at the 6 unconscious kids, you will be doing 5,000 hours of community service and will be wearing quirk cancelling bracelets. You will be blacklisted from every single hero school in the world and will only be able to attend you, But if I hear any of you continue your old actions, you will instantly expelled and blacklisted. Gets up and goes to leave Inko and Toshi. Just know, you will never receive any support from anyone in you anymore, you are on your own forever. Leaves. Endeavor dragged his kids home, although he was also sad at them, and once the Bakugo twins woke up, Toshinori gave them the news and they left angry. Now the Yagi family has been destroyed. No friends, no partners, cut pay, and worst of all Izuku POV, Izuku, their oldest son, now hates them with all of his being. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't own this video. Izuku POV, soon far it has been one whole day and yet the ship hasn't reached its destination, but to honest, Izuku did not care. Just being able to not have to see his family again was worth it. It didn't mean that he didn't hate them anymore, because he did. Izuku hated his family with every single fiber of his being. But being away from them was giving him comfort, but soon Izuku's new dream would come to in a form of an event, because soon the ship would start to shake violently. Izuku falls over and gets back up, standing up on his feet. Izuku started to notice the ship slowing, tilting to the left and moving past the panicking people. Izuku saw that the waters were very rough out at sea, so he assumed the ship mustn't be able to handle it. Also he heard an announcement from the captain saying to evacuate, but the worst part came in the form of a laugh. He heard a very familiar one / All Might, ha 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 ha. No need to fear, because I am here. Izuku, hiding in the crowd, of course you had to be here. Before All Might and Green Psychic could do their interview with the public about the horrible acts they had committed, he got an alert that told him about the ship and that it was sinking, and in about 10 minutes they managed to evacuate everyone, except for Izuku. Since he didn't follow everyone, All Might and Green Psychic, checking the rest of the ship. Eventually, as they looked through the ship, All Might and Green Psychic stopped at the railing and the person they saw made them both freeze. Izuku, staring at them both. All Might and Green Psychic, Izuku. Izuku, hey dad, mom. All Might and Green Psychic, why did you? Izuku, you know exactly why, don't F with me. Hearing his voice made them both sad and shocked. His anger towards them was like snake venom. It was so potent, because of that. It made the reality set in even more of how much of a terrible parent they were towards him. Inko, please Izuku, I'm so sorry. I promise. Izuku chuckles, we both know mom. Your promises mean nothing, just empty words coming from a failure of a person, who has the audacity to call herself a mother. What a joke. Inko couldn't do anything but cry. She no matter what she says. Her son is gone, consumed by rage Izuku, but I know no matter what I say or do, you won't listen and will take me back so. Walks up to the railing and looks back at them with immense rage in his eyes. I'd rather die, than go back. Jumps off the ship Inko and Toshi, no. Izuku, falling towards the water, I'm not afraid of death and even if I was, this is better than being with you bstrds, Izuku then falls into the water and basically disappears, on the ship, Inko, being held back by Toshi no Izuku, my baby boy Toshinori, crying Inko, he's gone Inko, no. Passes out Toshinori, jumps off the ship and gets on another they had. As they drove away from the sinking cruise ship, the pressure within the ship built up so much that it caused it to break in half and explode in a massive fiery blast. All Might just looked away from the boat, All Might, crying, I'm sorry son. On that day, Izuku disappeared from the world and when the news spread to the rest of the people who knew him, they all had mixed reactions. Izumi and Izuku was sad. They betrayed their brother and now he was gone. Katsuki and Shoto were happy that the Deku was finally gone. Katsumi and Shoka were sad. The person they loved was now gone but no one was as sad as Nijire. When she heard the news, she broke. Breaking down in tears and now she was even more mad at the people who tortured the man she loved. Nijire, I swear I will never forgive any of you. Especially you, All Might. No one's POV, after that day, they held a closed casket funeral for Izuku, there was no body to recover after all. Everyone who was there, the people who loved Izuku, even they had betrayed him. They paid their respects although once it was over Nijire stood there at the grave for a bit longer. She just sat there criss-crossed in the grass. Nijire didn't say a thing even when it rained she said not a thing and just sat there. All Might was the first one who walked to her. All Might, Nijire, readies her quirk and aims it at him with dead eyes. I won't hesitate. All Might, looks down in shame. Okay. Walks away. After a few minutes Mirio and Tamaki walk up to her now. Knowing that if no one else can reach her, they can. Mirio and Tamaki, sits down next to her. Nijire, doesn't look at him. Mirio, Nijire, I'm so sorry for your loss, I may not have known him but I know he was a good man. Tamaki, so. Whenever you need us, we'll always be there for you. It was quiet for 2 minutes until Nijire finally spoke. Nijire, thank you. The worst part about this is starts full-blown crying. I didn't gettotll him. Tamaki and Mirio said nothing and just hugged her, allowing Nijire to cry. 3 days later. No one's POV, currently right now we see a peacefully looking beach with the clear blue water and nice sand. Nothing seems out of the ordinary as the waves are just giving off their tranquil sound as they pass by and go back to become a part of the vast ocean once again. However, if you look closer there is something. A unconscious green-haired boy, this boy is Izuku. If though he is unconscious, no one really has any idea of how he even survived and the reason why the boat sank was because it had come into contact with a strong magic region. Yet with that fact lingering in the air. There he was alive and breathing in the sand while half of his clothes were ruined and half his body would get covered in water every so now and then. Izuku, eyes flicker open turns body around to face the sun. What happened? Laying there for about 5 minutes, Izuku back stood up and dusted himself off. Once he was up he stared at his hand. Izuku, looking around and sees unfamiliar buildings. Is this a dream? Clenches fist. Izuku then punches himself in the stomach hard and goes down on his knees in pain. But even though he was in pain, he proceeded to laugh afterwards. Izuku, stops laughing. I'm alive, yes I'm alive. But how? Wait, I'm asking the wrong questions. Starts walking. Izuku didn't know it at the time, but someone was watching him and he was wearing a deer cloth on him, it was colored gray /. Izuku POV, as Izuku walked around through the stone trails he saw so many things. Houses, horses that would go by every so now and then, and people. But that's what confused him. These people sometimes would be doing strange things. Like one of them would summon a small water ball and throw it in the air and make it explode, another would be using a hoe to farm, but the garden tool would be moving on its own without the person doing anything or even holding it. Izuku at first thought it was a quirk, but he felt something in his body resonate with what they were doing. Izuku, staring at them gardening. Izuku knew he probably looked like a creep, but he couldn't help it. He wanted to know what they were doing, so he was about to walk to them, but soon he heard a voice behind him. Looks nice, doesn't it, Izuku? HH. Jumps away. When Izuku looks back to see who said that, he sees a strange man. Julius laughs. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I was watching you and you seemed so interesting, I just couldn't help it. Izuku, you mock. Looks back at the farmers. Julius walks to the right of him. You like what they're doing? Izuku, yes. I can't tell why, booty, just can't help but feel a connection to whatever they're doing. Actually. What are they doing? Julius, well, that my boy is called magic. Izuku, eyes wide. Magic. Julius, of course. Everyone in this kingdom possesses a sum of magic, and even you. Izuku looks at the man. Wait. I do. Julius, yeah, you didn't notice. Izuku, no. I'm from Japan. Julius, Japan, huh? That's interesting because I have some people who are also from Japan in my squad. Izuku, what is your name? Julius, Julius Navachrono. The future wizard king, and if you want I can take you back. Izuku, no. Julius was surprised. He didn't expect that kind of response. It was full of hate, and he could sense from this kid's manner that he was filled to the brim with hatred. Julius, come with me, kid. I'll treat you to a meal, and how about you tell me your story? Izuku couldn't understand, but when Julius spoke, it was so filled with kindness. He couldn't help but want to go with him, so he did, and once he got next to Julius, Julius put Izuku on his back and started to fly. Eventually, after a bit of flying, he saw a kingdom with a clover symbol on it. Julius, welcome to the Clover Kingdom. Izuku smiles, I wanna stay. Once they got into the Clover Kingdom, everybody was staring at Izuku in a weird way, but he ignored it since he was following Julius, and after a bit of walking, they reached something that looked like a restaurant. Julius and Izuku sits down at a table. Julius then orders some food for the both of them, and while they sit, Izuku asks a question. Izuku, hey Julius, was it, can I ask you something? Julius, sure. Izuku, why were the people who passed by us staring at me with weird faces? Julius, upset. Well, this kingdom does have some discrimination. But when I become Wizard King I plan to make a future when no discrimination. Izuku, that would be nice. Yeah, I wasn't certain of it before, but now I'm sure. This place is my new home now. I like it here, but what can I do to make a difference? Also another question. Julius. Before he could speak more, their food arrives and they proceed to eat. It was more at a treat for Izuku since he had never gotten a warm meal since his parents started with his torture, and after they finished their food, both Julius and Izuku walked outside, and when Izuku got back on Julius's back he used his magic to get them on top of the castle. Izuku looks at the sun appealing. I never saw something like this in Japan. Julius, yeah, I imagined so. So, what did you want to ask me? Izuku, I want to stay here and help you make that future you mentioned. There's little left for me in Japan, so I want to help, but I have to ask. How do I? Julius, shocked for a second before smiling. You can become a magic knight. Izuku. Magic knight. Julius, yes, I'll explain. Skip the explanation. Izuku bows deeply. Please Julius, make me a magic knight. Julius suddenly gets very serious before asking a question. Julius, are you sure this is what you want? You won't be able to back out of this once you do. Izuku, yes, I am certain. Ever since I was a child, all I wanted was to be a hero, but that dream was taken from me, and when it did, I had nothing, no direction in mind, no path to follow. But now it's clear to me, this is where I belong. Like I said before, I was betrayed by Japan. That country turned its back on me. Ever since that I was searching for a home. A place when I know I can belong. Everything is clear to me now, this place is my home, this place is what I had been searching for all this time. A place where I can be free. So please, make me a magic knight. I swear I will protect my home with everything I've got until it kills me or I die. Julius didn't say anything until he smiled and extended his hand out towards Izuku. Julius, welcome aboard then. What's your full name? Izuku, it's Izuku Yagi. But please, just call me Izuku. I've abandoned the Yagi name. Julius, alright then, Izuku. Let's make a better future together. Izuku, accepts his hand. Yes sir. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't own this video, Izuku POV, after asking Julius if I could be a magic knight, I was so overjoyed that I couldn't describe it. I was finally certain of what I truly wanted to be. Also now thinking about it, Julius said I had magic when we first met. So if I would have became a hero, does that mean that I would have been wasting my true potential? I can't wait to find out since my childish excitement had returned and as I sit here in Julius's office. I can't help but be ready for whatever I have to do, in order to become a magic knight. Julius walks into his office. Sorry for the wait Izuku, now we can start. But first, before you become a magic knight, you need to learn our language, traditions and culture. Izuku, yes sir. For about 3 hours Izuku learned all he needed to learn about the Clover Kingdom, including their language, traditions and culture. Julius, I'm surprised. Izuku, you are a quick learner. Izuku, thank you Julius. Julius, don't thank me yet, we still have a lot to do. Now let's go outside. Izuku, alright. When they both go outside, Julius flies them over to a large grassland. Izuku, what are we doing here? Julius, how old are you? Izuku. Izuku, Julius, HM. Well, I have some news for you. Right now, you can't become a magic knight. Izuku, WHAT but Julius, hold on Izuku, let me finish. Pulls out a piece of paper. In this land, in order to become a magic knight, you need a grimoire. But you can't get your grimoire until you are 15 years old. But don't let that discourage you, you can still train your magic until then. I'm going to teach you the basics. How to feel mana, control mana and manipulate it. With these skills, you will be able to do so many things. If you get a really good handle on feeling mana, you can even tell someone's intentions from the way their mana will flow. Manipulating your mana is what will allow you to attack your opponent, heal yourself or whatever. We won't know what you will truly be able to do until you get your grimoire. As well as, you won't be able to draw out your true potential unless you have a grimoire. Izuku, raise his hand. I have a question. What if, Julius, I can tell what you're going to ask. No. No one can destroy your grimoire. A grimoire is connected to a person's soul, so if you wanted to destroy a grimoire you would need to kill the mage who wields it. Izuku, I see. I'm not afraid to kill, if it means protecting my home. Julius, lastly is controlling your mana. It is just as important as manipulating it. If you don't use your magic right, it has a possibility to harm you as well. As for controlling it, you don't have infinite magic. If you use all your magic, you won't be able to use spells. You don't have to worry though because your magic will always regenerate, no matter what you do. If you are not using your magic, it will regenerate, if you sleep it will regenerate and well you get the point. 2 more things before we start. If your grimoire is ever damaged by an attack, you will not feel it. Because grimoire regenerate infinitely as long as you are alive. If you die, your grimoire will disappear. Remember that. Izuku, Oh, I get it, so you mean that no matter how hurt or damaged a mage's body may be, they are not truly dead if their grimoire still exists. Julius, precisely. As for the second thing, just because you don't have a grimoire doesn't mean you can't use powerful spells. But your most powerful spells will always be within your grimoire. Izuku, got it. So in other words, if your opponent can't make you open your grimoire, they are truly pathetic. Trust me Julius. I will remember that, Julius. Alright, let's start. We'll start with feeling mana, since it is the first step to magic. Sit down and focus. Izuku sits down and starts to mediate. Julius, now was the feeling you got the first time? Izuku, it was like a pulsing feeling in my heart, and when it was active, I felt like I was connected to the entire world around me. But I was never able to focus on it since I was always being tortured. Julius, alright, try to bring that feeling back, but this time don't fight it, since you no longer have to. Izuku, okay. Begins to mediate. Julius, you have enough mana to rival and overpower a royal. So you will definitely be an amazing magic knight. But even though you have all this mana, it won't do you any good if you don't train. As Izuku began his mediation, nothing happened for a minute as he focused within his mind. But soon enough, after about 2 minutes, he felt something, and it was that particular pulsing feeling in his heart. Usually he would have to fight this feeling, because of all the torture he would go through on a daily basis. But this time he didn't fight it and instead helped it. As he did, he could feel the pulse spreading throughout his whole body. He couldn't say anything, it felt so good. The best way to describe it would be like being wrapped in a protective embrace. Julius, his mana is fluctuating. He's done it. Good job Izuku, you got it. Now open your eyes and looks at me. Izuku opens his eyes and looks at Julius. When Izuku looked at Julius, he saw the mana flowing out of him, and it was a lot of mana. Julius, you can see it, can't you? Izuku, yes, you have a bluish-like aura surrounding you. Julius, good, that is my mana. Now we will start with manipulating your mana. Izuku, alright, let's do it. Julius, alright, take that mana you feel and send it your hand. Once it's there, focus and try to make it take shape. Izuku, okay. Opens his hand. After about 30 seconds, 3 little ball of light appear in his open palm. Julius, huh? Like magic. You truly are an interesting kid. Izuku, like magic. Alright, what's next? Julius. Julius, that is all. Izuku, but what about magic control? Julius, the best way to train magic control is through experience, so you should your magic manipulation and feeling, and once you do, you will gradually use less mana with your attacks. Izuku, interesting. I wanna train. After this, Izuku and Julius go back to the Clover Kingdom, although Izuku wasn't really speaking too much to Julius anymore after he taught him how to use his mana. Because he was thinking about going to train in a strong magic region. He knew that if though he didn't have his grimoire, it would be suicide. But he wasn't going to stop. So once he packed everything he needed, Izuku set out, but not before running into Julius again, who stood in his way. Julius, smiling. Izuku, looking at Julius. It was quiet until Julius broke the silence. Julius, so you're thinking about going into a strong magic region, are you? Izuku, yes, and you won't stop me. Julius, I don't mean that in any offense. Stares off in the distance. Julius couldn't tell what he looked at, but he knew it was something only Izuku could see. Izuku, something is calling to me out there. I don't know what it is or what it wants. But I have to find it. Please Julius, let me go. Julius, oh, you have it wrong. I didn't come to stop you. I came to wish you luck. Izuku, shocked, smiles. Thank you Julius. Julius, you're welcome. Izuku walks past him. I meant that Julius, you gave me a reason to live again, so once I'm strong enough I will come back and serve you to the best of my ability. No matter how hard it may be, Izuku walked towards the strong magic region known as the Forest of Eden, but once he got to the edge of it, he felt the intense magic. That made him even more excited. Izuku, alright. Takes a step. Julius, appears again. Wait. Izuku. Izuku, turns around to see Julius again. Julius, can you promise me 2 things? Izuku, sure. Julius, please don't die. Izuku didn't know what to say, since he never had anyone in his life that cared about his well-being besides Nijire, but she wasn't here now. Izuku, thumbs up. Yeah, I won't die. And what was the other thing? Julius, promise that no matter how far away you are, no matter if I can see you or not, you will see me become Wizard King. Izuku, yeah. Turns back around and waving, see ya Julius. Julius just stood there as he watched Izuku's figure disappear in the dense forest, and that marked the day where Izuku truly disappeared from the world. 5 years later, a lot has happened since the last time. The Clover Kingdom has developed a lot during the last 5 years, and within that time, Julius became the Wizard King. There are new squads. 9 in total, named the Black Bulls, the Aqua Deer, the Coral Peacocks, the Sliver Eagles, the Crimson Lion Kings, the Green Praying Mantises, the Purple Orcas, the Blue Rose Knight, and lastly was the Golden Dawn. These 9 squads made up the Magic Knight captains of the Clover Kingdom. As for the Grey Deer, when Julius became the Wizard King, they disbanded and disappeared within the other 9 squads, or disappeared in the winds of time. But right now we focus on a strange man who was found walking towards the Grimoire Tower, although with a bunch of other teenage kids. By the way, just to avoid confusion, Asta and Yuno will become Magic Knight by the time Izuku is 28 years old. They will just as young as they are in canon. Anyway, back to the story. This man was pretty built, having decent muscles under the big coat he was wearing along with a hoodie that covered his face. Most people who saw him in the tower were keeping their distance, not out of fear. It was mostly because no one could really feel any mana from him. He had mana, there was no way he couldn't. Because if he had no mana then he would be dead. But at the same time no one could really identify he was royalty level or commoner level. Finally, I can get my grimoire. Inside his mind, took you long enough, kid. Come on, you don't have to be mean. Lucifero, oh shut up Thea. I love you now. We both know that once he gets his grimoire we have to possess it. Lucifero, yeah, I know. Even though he doesn't even know how to use either of our powers. Thea, true. But give it time, he'll get better. Besides that, he's really good at using light magic. Lucifero, yes I know. But he will be surprised and happy when he learns how to use my gravity magic. Can you both shut up? Thea, hi Lucifero, what the F did you say to me? I'm the Great Lucifero. King of all demons. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I've been hearing that for 4 years now, Lucifero, tch. Just then, before he could speak more, the grimoire ceremony starts. Old man, alright, you all are here from you grimoires which you will allow you to become Magic Knights. So don't disappoint me, sweat drop huh. Lucifero, sweat drop huh. Thea, sweat drop huh. Old man, now then, with that out of the way. It is time to receive your grimoires. Once he says that, a ton of grimoires come out the wall and float into the air. Takes off hoodie. Once his hoodie was off, it was revealed to be Izuku, although much older and stronger. Izuku, I remember long ago. Thea, you told that grimoire reveal what magic you will possess in the future, right? Thea, yes. Suddenly 2 grimoire comes towards Izuku and floats in front of him. There were blank grimoires, it had nothing on it. They were just blank until eventually, they started to take color. One of them was a 4-leaf grimoire with a design of the sun on it, and other was another 4-leaf grimoire with the design of a meteor shower on it. Once they landed in his hand he felt so much more powerful. Izuku while was putting his grimoires in his side compartments, one on the left and one on the right, but he didn't notice the amount of people staring at him, but he didn't care. Izuku, I will do whatever it takes to become a Magic Knight captain. Now he had the tools to do that. So he put his hoodie back on and left the building, although he didn't notice 2 nobles were following him. Also, one last thing he noticed was that Thea possessed his 4-leaf grimoire with the sun design, and once Lucifero possessed his meteor shower grimoire, it turned into a 5-leaf. But then he gets stopped by the nobles before he could think about it. More noble, evil smile, leaving so soon. Izuku, doesn't respond. Noble 2, you think you can just show up and steal our spotlight? Opens his grimoire. You will pay for that. Izuku, shakes his head to say no, you guys are weak. Noble, now die. Sends a fireball at him. Noble 2, sends a water ball at him. Izuku just stared at the magic in disappointment. He knew they were weak, but that magic they sent at him wasn't even strong enough for Izuku to open his light grimoire. But he decided to open it anyway, so a spell can be adding to it. Light grimoire. Explosive light barrage added. Izuku grins, I already love my grimoire. closes his grimoire and opens his hand a few seconds before the spells hit him. Izuku summons a small orb of light in his hand and flicks it towards the magic coming towards him. Once the water and fire made contact with the light ball exploded, destroying the spells easily and knocking out the noble's back. Izuku, not even a challenge, walks away and puts his grimoire in his side compartment. You both never surpass me. While Izuku is walking towards the capital, a small version of Lucifero and Thea appear on his shoulders. Izuku, oh, I'm wondering if you two can come out. Lucifero, yeah Thea, we're just as surprised as you, but now you have a journey to take. Izuku, not exactly. Opens his grimoire, let's see, light magic. Archangel Spear added light magic. Healing light added. Izuku smiles, that should do it. Light magic. Archangel Spear. Izuku then uses said spear in order to fast travel towards the capital of the Clover Kingdom, and while he was smiling, Izuku, now, I can finally achieve my dream, and this time, no one will get in my way. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. I don't own this video. Izuku POV, currently right now, Izuku is sitting crisscrossed on top of a building watching over the Colosseum where the entrance exam will be taking place. But while he waits, he decides to open both of his grimoires and learn new spells. Izuku ended up figuring out pretty quick that whatever new thing he thinks about doing with his magic, as long as it's possible, it will appear in his grimoire, and so far he has learned 4 new spells and has been experimenting with spells he already had access to. Izuku, grimoires floating in front of him and his hand on his mouth, thinking, I wanna try to learn gravity magic and light magic at the same time. Spells inside light grimoire, explosive light barrage, healing light, archangel spear light, swords of conviction light, WHP of judgment, chains of atonement, ray of divine punishment, lamp of Avia, Helios's bow. Spells inside gravity grimoire, presence of the demon king, heavy infighting, gladiator, evil gods, pressure craft, gravity singularity, collapsing stars, spiraling gravity well, falling star, meteorite of Estelle, thousand planet blades, gravitation zero, black hole, repelling and attraction force, inversion, crushing point. Izuku, how good is my healing? Looks at his hand. Izuku didn't like the thought, but he had to try. So even though it was extremely painful to do, Izuku proceed to break his hand and fingers. Izuku, grrrhhh, look at his hand, healing light. When says that, a bubble of light appears on his hand and he watches as it heals completely within a few seconds, and as he moved his hand around, Izuku figured out that his hand was completely healed. No broken bones at all, which impressed him. Izuku, smiling, using my magic is so addicting. I don't think I could ever get sick of it. Instead of being limited by a quirk, I can make my imagination come to life with light magic and gravity magic. Although I haven't learned how to use gravity magic effectively yet, suddenly before Izuku could think more about it, he saw fireworks at the Colosseum. Izuku swipes his hand to the right, which closes his grimoire. Grabs it and puts it the side compartment. Alright, time to go. Starts to fly using light magic. Oh, I love flying. Flies away. As Izuku was flying towards the entrance exam, he was smiling and thinking about how far he had come to get to this point. Flashback. 5 years ago, once Izuku walked in the Forest of Eden. It was amazing since many things inside the forest so much different than a usual forest. Stronger creatures, deadly plants, and the weather was off the charts. It would always rain in the forest, but that wasn't enough. It would rain so much that it would flood a section of the forest, so Izuku would mostly stick to the trees. All the while surviving in the strong magic region, he would regularly train with his magic. Even though he couldn't do much, he still decided to train, because even if it didn't do much for it, he thought that if I were to train this hard without a grimoire, imagine how strong my magic will be when I actually get my grimoire. And this continued on and on for a year, until one day he ran into a temple, or more precisely, it was dungeon within a strong magic region. He was excited, but he knew that he couldn't take a step in there without using anything to protect his body from the intense mana. He was barely getting by because of how intense the mana was inside. The forest was so dense, it felt like being choked constantly no matter where you go. So whenever he wanted to take in some air that would allow him to not feel like he is going to pass out, he had to use something he called mana skin. It wasn't really that hard to use. It was hard to maintain, that was the thing about it. For now he could maintain it for 10 minutes at a time. Izuku, sitting on top a tree, even though I know I can only use mana skin for 10 minutes. Excited, I can't help it. I have to explore it. When Izuku went into the dungeon, he instantly felt like difference in mana. It was like heaven and earth, so he knew that if his mana skin failed, he would suffocate and die. But his excitement didn't allow him to leave this dungeon, and while he was searching through it, it was difficult because of all the rooms that looked the same and all the trap magic that he activated every so now and then. But eventually, after about 6 minutes, he found the treasure room. It didn't have anything in it besides two things. One was a door that had a devil symbol on it, and another was a scroll that was glowing in a bright light. Hearing voices from the scroll calling to him, unconsciously without thought, Izuku walked towards the scroll, and once he was holding it, he felt something enter his body, and soon a woman covered in light appeared before him, opens eyes and looks at Izuku. Izuku looks back at her. Silence. Are you the one who freed me? Izuku, holding a blank scroll. Yeah, I think. What are you? I'm the spirit of light, Thea. Izuku, Thea. So does that mean you use, Thea? Yes, I use spirit light magic, and now that you've touched the scroll, I am your spirit. Izuku, oh cool. Thea, frowns. All I ask is, please, don't abuse me. Izuku, smiling. Oh, I would never. I swear. Thea, smiling, I can tell by his mana, he's not lying. Alright, I'm in your service. Since you don't have a grimoire, I will stay within your body, so once you get a grimoire, I will possess said grimoire. Why does this kid have a strong devil connection? Looks at the door. Thea then noticed that Izuku was also staring at the door, and at the same time, since she was connected to him via soul right now, she could tell he was thinking about going in there. Thea wanted to stop him, but she knew that she couldn't disobey her new MSTR. Izuku, Thea, I know you think this is a bad idea, but being in this kingdom for a while has made me even more certain of what I want to be. I want to be a captain of my own magic knight squad. A place where the unwanted can belong. So I will go through with this, because if I want to unlock my full potential in this world, I must take risks where they're necessary, and I feel like this is a necessary evil I must possess. Thea, okay. I believe in you, MSTR. Izuku smiles and opens the door. Inside the room, it was dark for a second until a bunch of candles turned on without anyone in the room. The room was old, but there was something that was noticeable. It was a red summoning circle in the middle of the room. Izuku walks into the red circle. Suddenly a black fog started to surround Izuku, and once it cleared, he was in an unfamiliar land. There was nothing around anywhere. A weak-looking boy, but your magic is immense. Izuku turns around. He sees a something. It was a man or an it. Izuku wasn't really certain of what it was, but it looked like a devil. It was a male figure with a pale gray body with 4 black horns coming out his head with 4 black wings coming out his back. Well, it doesn't matter, you will still die. Izuku, what are you, or who are you? Even though you will be dead in a few minutes, I will still tell you. I am one of the supreme devils of hell. Lucifero, the gravity magic devil. Izuku, Lucifero, huh? A supreme devil, huh? I can sense his magic. It's basically bottomless. Lucifero, well, enough talk, goodbye now. Gravity magic. Presence of the Demon King. Once those words were said, Izuku felt the gravity hit him. It was like being crushed by a planet. He immediately fell to his knees, but however he would not just grovel and lose. Thea, MSTR, this devil is too strong for you, you can't win. Izuku heard that. He felt an intense rage in him. He wasn't mad at Thea, but he was told to give up again. After all he did. After all the time he spent trying to chase his dream, he was now told to give up. Izuku, not again, not again. So many thoughts were rushing into Izuku's mind, but the thing that was mostly taking him over was a feeling that he hadn't felt in a while. Rage. And so as he begun to curse in his mind, his mind shut off and his thoughts became void. Lucifero POV, when I used my gravity magic. The green-haired boy of course was knocked into the ground, and when he did, I was going towards him to finish this, but soon I felt a evil mana coming from somewhere. I turned around to search for the source. This mana felt just as evil as my own, which was saying something. But I soon figured out that it was coming from the boy I had just knocked over, and soon enough he started to stand up like a zombie, and once he was up, I saw it happen. His eyes turned from their usual green into a dark green, devoid of life. Once his eyes changed, I felt something in him change. I couldn't tell what it was, but I knew it was big. Silence. Izuku, standing still now doing a thing. Lucifero, even under the effect of my gravity, you don't feel anything, huh? Izuku, emotionless face. Again it was quiet. This set Lucifero off until eventually the most voice he had ever heard spoke. Izuku, demon light magic. Light swords of conviction, just like that. Within the blink of an eye, thousands of black light swords shot towards Lucifero. On that day, Izuku was consumed by his rage once more. Usually, when that happened it didn't do anything. But since he now had the ability to use magic, being consumed by rage allowed Izuku to use extremely powerful negative magic, and once he did, he proceeded to fight Lucifero for a whole 6 months straight, until one time during their fight, Izuku's eye returned to normal and he passed out, but not before leaving a mark. Currently on the battlefield, Izuku passes out. Lucifero, panting hard, you truly are something, kid. You impress me. Falls to the ground and lays down on it. Forced me to use my magic to its full extent, even though you have no grimoire yet. Interesting. I want to speak to you. For the first time in history, the supreme devil Lucifero was interested in a human. Izuku woke up after a couple minutes. Izuku, WHAT happened? Sees Lucifero standing above him. Stands up again, but feels extremely weak. Why are you just standing? Thr. Lucifero, I wanna have a chat with you. Izuku, okay. After talking for a bit, Lucifero was interested in him even more than before. Izuku, well, since we are talking, I wanted to ask, what are your spells? Lucifero, I use gravity magic, as you can tell. My spells are presence of the Demon King, heavy infighting. Heavy infighting gladiator. Gravity singularity. Izuku, stars and eyes. Wow, that's awesome. Although I wonder what if. For about 5 minutes Izuku was talking to himself about possible gravity spells Lucifero could do. When he heard that his interest was piqued, Lucifero, kid, do you mind if I go with you? I would love to see what you are going to be able to do. Izuku, wow, really, that's great. Thea's comes out his body. Thea, what are you planning? Lucifero. Lucifero, Thea, I knew I sensed your magic. I'm not planning anything, I just want to see what he will be capable of using my magic. But if you're worried, don't. My rival. Izuku, wait. Your rival. Lucifero, shut up. Yes, Thea is my rival. She is the strongest spirit in the world. That title used to belong to Bell and Salamander. Izuku, my guess is those two are the wind spirit and fire spirit. Lucifero, yes, good guess. Anyway, let's go. Don't disappoint me, boy. Enters Izuku's body. Once he was done possessing Izuku, it felt weird to him. A feeling of two different entities inside of his body. One of great light and good, while the other was of great gravity and evil. Izuku smiles, I want to test myself. Looks at the ceiling. Thea and Lucifero, hold on. Izuku looks behind him to see Lucifero and Thea. What? Thea, your body is still too young and weak to use both our magics at the same time. Lucifero, actually more than that. He can't use our magic at all. But give it time, although I know a different method. Izuku, what's that? Lucifero, I will fully possess your body for a minute. If you truly want to take this power for a joyride. Izuku, thinking about it alright Lucifero, evil smile Izuku, serious but just 1 minute okay. Lucifero, okay. Lucifero then possesses Izuku's body fully, turning his skin a pitch black with 4 horns and wings coming out of him. Lucifero, controlling Izuku's body gravity magic gravity singularity, a black orb of gravity appears in his hand and he throws it at the ceiling, completely obliterating it, creating a hole in the ceiling which Lucifero flies out of. Lucifero, gravity magic. Presence of the Demon King. Once he says that, a massive circle appears in the forest, because of the crushing gravity. Izuku takes back control of his body. Lucifero appears behind him again. So what do you think? Izuku, Sucio. Excited Lucifero, glad you like it. What am I saying? Do I actually care for this human? No, but. For years later, after that day, when Izuku met Lucifero and Thea, he became much happier than ever before. However, he knew that he couldn't rely on their magic boost, so he still decided to train himself. The way Izuku was thinking about it was, if I rely on their magic boost to fight, it means that without them both I would be weak, and he didn't want that. So he trained and trained until his body broke and then trained more. As for Lucifero, he tried to deny it, but eventually after a while, he accepted that, for the first time in his long life, he actually cared about a human. It started one day when Izuku got hurt by a creature that lived in the strong magic region, and when he got hurt, Lucifero without warning came out and protected him. Inside Izuku's mind, Thea, you know as well as I do, we both care about the kid. Lucifero, I would have said no before, but yes, I'll admit it. I care about him. I've lived my life through my selfish desires, and now he showed me that I can be more than that. Thea, if we're both in agreement, then I think it's finally time to tell the truth. That we've only been allowing him to use half of our full powers. Lucifero, alright then. But if we give him this, it means that he won't be able to use our powers at all until he is truly powerful enough to handle it. So that's what they did. The both of them had a conversation with Izuku explaining how they had at first only allowed him to use half of their full powers, and once they did that, Thea and Lucifero's relationship with Izuku had grown much more than ever before. Now Izuku considers them both his treasured partners and friends that he will be closer to than anyone else. Back to the present, Izuku arrives at the Colosseum and lands on the ground. Izuku then walks towards the receptionist, name, village and grimoire. Izuku, freelancer, pulls out both his grimoires and shows it to him. Receptionist, 2 grimoires, I've never seen a person with 2 grimoires before and with those kinds of design. Alright, you are Izuku, thank you. As Izuku walks into the Colosseum, he just stands there with a very happy smile on his face, and suddenly without warning, a bunch of anti-magic birds come out on nowhere. Although none of them even came close to him. While that was happening, he heard the rest of the people in the exam talking about him. About how he said he was a freelancer, a 4-leaf grimoire, and that there were no birds around him. This set some of the nobles and royals off, because they still had a small amount of birds around them. Eventually though, after waiting for a couple minutes, the exam started with all the magic knife captains appearing up on the stands except for one. Izuku, someone runs into him and turns around. Behind him was the Black Bull's captain, Yami Sukahiro. Izuku, oh hey. I know you. You're Yami, deadly aura. Who the hell are you, kid? Izuku gets closer to him and whispers, I know Julius. Yami, I see. Also, don't ever get that close to me again. Izuku, sweat drop. Yes sir. Yami then goes back up to the seats and sits down, and all the captains appear there as well. Izuku, I will have to join a squad first in order to become a captain of my own. William, attention, thank you for waiting. I will be the one starting the exam. Opens Grimoire magic trees decent. A tree appears in the sky and comes down. Once it does, everybody is given a broom. Izuku, holding said broom, I have to fly on this. No. William, you've waited long enough, now let the entrance exam begin. In a few moments we will begin a series of tests. The 9 Magic Knight captains will be serving as your judges, and when the exam is complete we will choose the members we want on our squads. If chosen you are in. If more than one squad chooses you, you will decide on which one you would like to join. However, if you not chosen by any squad, you will not become a Magic Knight. And now for your first test. You must use the brooms you've been given to fly. Everybody gets shocked, all except for Izuku and a couple of other people in the exam. But it was mostly due to cockiness for them, whereas Izuku was confident in himself. William, enough talk. Now begin. Izuku shakes his head no and flies up towards the captains. Excuse me. All captains, shocked. William, yes. Izuku, may I be allowed to fly without my broom, or must I use it still for the exam? Nozzle, he's not using his magic ability. Charlotte, he's just flying using pure mana. William, no, you must fly on said broom in order for it to count. Izuku, Bow's head, thank you for answering my question. Excuse me. Floats down to the ground. Izuku, although reluctant, sits down on his broom and makes it fly high into the sky. Lucifero appears on his shoulder and annoyed. Sitting on this broom is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Izuku, I know. Especially when I can fly without a broom. Oh well. Whatever I have to do to pass this exam. The broom test ends, and once it does, Izuku crushes all the other tests. Like the magical ability test, creation magic test and the developmental magic test, and then came the last test. Izuku, alright, well, time for the last one. William, for the last test. Fugolian, you must fight each other, so don't hold anything back. Willam, we have mages wielding recovery magic standing by if you get injured, so don't hold back. Izuku, alright, should be simple enough. While Izuku was standing there, no one came towards him, since they had been watching him, so they all knew how strong Izuku was. Even though he was holding back throughout the whole entrance exam, well, he really had no reason to actually try since the tests weren't that hard. But he still wanted to show off, so he decided that for the last test, he would pull out all the stops. Izuku, I want to get better at using gravity magic. So sorry, Thea. Izuku could feel Thea pouting inside of his grimoire, which made him chuckle, but he wasn't going to stop. Izuku, let's do this. Lucifero. He then felt Lucifero smile evilly, which made him happy. Izuku, he may like me and treat me like a partner, but he is still a devil. Suddenly a royal walks up to Izuku and talks to him. Hello, my name is Owen. I'll be your opponent. Izuku smirks. Very well. Mage, we're ready for the first fight. Izuku, coming. They both go the middle of the arena. Owen, you ready, you filthy commoner? You're just a nobody, and because of that, I will crush you. Opens his grimoire. Gravity magic. Crushing gravity times. Izuku, shocked but amused, a mirror match, huh? Very well, I'll play. Just I'm about to teach you how much of a better player I am than you. Gravity magic. Presence of the Demon King. The spell Owen threw at him suddenly stopped and disappeared. Owen, what? You cheater. How did you? Izuku, you're not the only one who can use gravity magic. Izuku then uses his gravity magic to remove the weight from his body, making him faster. Owen copied what he did, and then they both took to the sky and started fighting as sparks of purple energy came off the both of them. Izuku aims hand at the ground. Gravity magic. Evil God's pressure craft. 3 rocks then come out the ground and form into giant swords, which Izuku shoots at Owen. After he does that, he pulls one more rock out the ground and cast another spell. Izuku, gravity magic. Heavy infighting gladiator. Rushes towards Owen. Owen didn't know what to do, since he had been watching Izuku throughout the whole exam and was jealous of him, since he was the one who stole the whole spotlight from him. But once he was fighting him, He realized how difficult this actually was. Casting high-level spells back to back. But he wasn't going to lose here /Owen, alright then. My strongest spell. Increased gravity by 20 times. Nosebleeds. Izuku notices that Owen's nosebleeds because his mana control wasn't good enough to handle his own spell. Owen dodges all the swords and flies towards Izuku. I will be the one to win, you're just a nobody. Izuku didn't say anything. Because he finally realized why this guy reminded him of someone. He reminded him of Bakugo. A superiority complex and a inferiority complex at the same time. Izuku laughs a little before getting serious. I'm done playing with you. Extends his hand outwards. Izuku didn't move as he was just floating there as Owen was racing towards him, and the very second before Owen hit Izuku, something happened that surprised everybody. Izuku, gravity magic. Crushing point. Then without warning Izuku crushed the gravity in front of him so hard. It warped space. /Owen appears on the ground. What the? Izuku, standing in front of him. Hey. Owen, what happened? I thought I hit. Izuku, no. You're weak. But I'll tell you. Did you know that if you crush gravity hard enough in an area in front of you or anywhere, you can warp space? Although I don't know why I'm telling you this, cause you will never have enough magic to do that. Owen, well, if that's the case, let's continue the fight. BSTRD. Izuku, no, it's over already. Owen, WH-. Feels pain and looks down. When he looks down he sees that he has a sword impaled into his stomach. /Owen, BLD comes out his mouth and falls to the ground. Botard. Unconscious Izuku, disappointed. Not even worth a warm-up. Mage, match over. Exam member 178. Izuku wins. Everyone, shocked and cheering. He totally flattened a royal. Izuku walks away and leans on the wall. Crosses his arms and closes his eyes. After about 20 minutes all the fights come to an end. Although none of them were able to entertain Izuku. So he just took a small nap. This set some people off. But they didn't dare approach him, since they had seen how strong he was in the first fight. So none of them said anything and just held their tongues. At the end of the battles, Izuku opened his eyes and walked back in the middle of the Colosseum. Lucifero and Thea, show off. Izuku, oh come on, you know that I'm league stronger than every single one of the people in this exam. Charlotte, alright, now that the exam is over, we will be choosing who we want on our squads. If a captain raises their hand for you, then you are in. If more than one captain chooses you, it will up to you to decide which squad you will join. Nozzle, but if no squad picks you, leave at once. Random mage, contestant 1, come forward. Do we have any hands? No one raises their hand, and this continues with people getting called up and the captains raising their hands or not raising their hands at all until eventually, random mage, contestant 178, come forward. Izuku clenches his heart and walks up with confidence. Random mage, do we have any hands? Once Izuku looks up, he sees that all the captains raise their hands for him. Izuku, relief, all of them, not really surprising, but I won't be cocky. I want to join the Black Bulls. Yami, then the exam comes to an end, and when it does, Izuku goes with Yami and starts his journey. Yami, I was wondering, what is your goal, kid? Izuku looks at him seriously. I want to be a Magic Knight captain. I want to create a place where the forgotten and discarded can have a place they can call home. Yami, not a bad goal. I hope it comes to life. Izuku, yeah, I hope so too. They both then leave. This was the start of Izuku's new life in the Clover Kingdom, and so far, he loved every single moment of it, but this was only the start.